All right, good afternoon and welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to be discussing what documents you're going to need if you apply for Section 8 housing and you're successful in your journey to actually receive a notice that you're going to get a voucher. And so, welcome to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, really. But, anyways, besides the joking, Mr. Rogers and his neighborhood, I want to bring up some information regarding our company real quick. So, just bear with me one moment. And here we go. Now that we've got that information available, I'm going to go ahead and move my little face around. I'll be on the right side for you guys. So for those of you that may have learning disabilities and so on, today I'm going to also present notes. These notes can be found both in the comments section and description, okay? So documentation, we're going to go down a rabbit hole here because there's plenty to consider. Now remember, just because I'm going over all this doesn't necessarily mean that all these things are going to apply to you. But considering there are 4,300 housing authorities nationwide, I wanted to comprehensively cover all the conceivable issues that could be there. Now, this information I'm going to be bringing in real quick through our notes. Here we go. And so, what documents are needed? First of all, government ID issued photo or identification for adults. Birth certificates are required. Social Security cards are acceptable with proof of Social Security numbers, full legal names with date of birth, marriage certificate, divorce decree, custody order, guardianship papers when applicable. And goes on down, citizenship or eligible immigration status documentation, school records for minors if requested. Keep in mind, guys, I understand everybody's wanting privacy, but if you're going to endeavor in accepting a voucher through a federal program, they're not going to negotiate whether you turn over your Social Security, birth certificate, and ID. That is absolutely required. If you do not cooperate in that respect, they will terminate and remove you from the list, and you will not receive anything. Okay, and you can look further down at Title 24 Code of Federal Regulation 5.216 that also will subscribe to what I just said there. Number two, citizenship and immigration documents. This administration of President, the Trump administration, has precluded one factor, and that is you must prove citizenship. If they do not have a acceptable form, a way of proving that, then you will not be able to participate in any federal program whatsoever, okay? And going on, for U.S. citizens, a signed declaration of U.S. citizenship, a U.S. birth certificate, a valid U.S. passport, a certificate of naturalization, a certificate of citizenship, and a consular report of birth abroad. Okay. For eligible non-citizens, you can have a signed declaration of eligible immigration status, a permanent resident card, employment authorization document when applicable, arrival and departure records, USCIS documentation, including an alien registration number. These rules here can change from every single housing authority. Just to be clear, guys, documentation through housing authorities can be vastly different depending on the state and county. Other documentation is accepted under HUD's eligible immigration status rules that you can find out directly from the PHA, in which is about to grant you the voucher. As of let's see, January 2026, HUD strongly encourages PHA to require documentation of proof of citizenship. So I think we've already been over that. It's a political matter at this point. And so if you cannot prove these things, it's going to be an issue. Moving on to number three, income documents. Look, guys, do not attempt to do this early, okay? Because I can tell you that most PHA or public housing authorities, if they make an offer of a voucher and they're going to ask about income documents, if you did this stuff like 3 months ago in preparation of this, it's going to be no good. They're going to want something current as of the last 30 days. So do not go and get income documents from your bank early, okay, until it's required. Other things on this list you can probably go ahead and do now or grab the nearest version of it. Recent pay stubs within the last 30 to 90 days, depending on the PHA, employer verification letter, employment contractor or job offer letter, W-2 forms, recent federal income tax returns if requested, and work schedules or records of irregular hours when applicable. These rules here will change PHA to PHA, meaning Public Housing Authority. Self-employment is going to be a little bit on a higher range. You're going to need a recent tax return, Schedule C, 1099 forms, business profit and loss statements, business bank statements, and payment histories from Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. And so, if you're doing any of these other versions, including Etsy, eBay, or similar platforms, are going to want information from there as well. Records of business expenses. They're not going to need all of that, okay? But they're probably going to want a few of those. Benefits and other income. So if you have Social Security, SSI, SSDI, survivor benefits, all those are required. VA benefit statement, pension and retirement statement, unemployment benefit statement, workers' compensation documents, TAMP, and other cash assistance. They don't mean the food stamps in the card. They mean the cash that comes with the food stamp card. That is income. Child support and alimony records, regular contribution statements if any other person is regularly helping pay household expenses. And so that means if grandma tucked a little money in your Christmas card, they want to know about it, okay? So use common sense here. Not all things can be tracked, but keep it honest. Zero income certification if an adult reports no income. And then SNAP benefits may be requested to document household circumstances, although SNAP itself is not generally treated as an annual income per HUD rent calculation. So in most cases, as I mentioned here, they're not going to count the individual food stamps, okay? They're going to count the value of any cash that's included you can take out of an ATM. All right, so moving on to bank accounts and assets. PHA may request documentation for checking accounts, savings accounts, certificate of deposit, stocks, bonds, investment accounts, trust accounts, retirement accounts, cash value, life insurance policy, real estate and other properties, cryptocurrency assets recently sold, transferred, or even given away. You're going to want to, when it comes to bank accounts, assets, and money, you're going to want to talk to a consultant or attorney. I'm the cheaper of the two, so you want to give my office a call or book an appointment. We can go through that. It's roughly 14 pages, and there are a lot of other things to be considered here, guys. We're only on number 4 of about 10 different things. So bringing the most recent and complete statements and making sure every page is included. Do not omit an account because it has a low zero balance, and they're not stupid. You have one account with money in it, then you close it, cash it out, and then attempt to open it again later. Look, they're not stupid. They pick that up. Expenses that may reduce adjusted income. This is extremely important. Since we're talking about income and assets, why not talk about the things that can be deductions? Child care expenses, childhood provider's name and contact information, receipts or payment records, provider verification, work or school schedule explaining what child care is necessary, information about reimbursements. Moving on from there, medical expenses for households that qualify for medical expense deduction, medical bills, prescription receipts, health insurance premiums, Medicare premiums, dental, vision, hearing, and medical equipment expenses, transportation records for qualifying for Medicare, and proof of showing whether the expenses were reimbursed. Again, you're going to need a consultant or likely an attorney to help you with that because though they're naming these broadly, it's not going to explain every circumstance. So we would have to go through the list with the client. Moving on from there, disability assistance expenses. The reason I'm talking quick, guys, is we don't want this to be a long video. And many of you guys that are reviewers, you like information, you like to get it quickly. If I'm too quick, read from the notes. If I'm just going along quick enough for you guys, then continue on the journey with me here. You wanted to know, this is all the stuff. Can't complain about that, right? If you're asking, this is the answer. Number 6, documents supporting a waiting list preference. Claiming a preference on an application is not always enough. The PHA may require verification for giving the preference. Examples include homelessness verification from a shelter, outreach provider, coordinated entry system, or service agency. Disability verification from an acceptable professional or qualifying benefit record. Veteran status documentation is DDD 214. The DB or domestic issue documentation with self-certification, local residency documents, employment verification, documentation showing displacement by fire, disaster, government action, and other qualifying events. And you only claim preference that apply to your household. False and unverifiable claims can lead to loss of preference or denial of assistance. I like to challenge that personally. I don't think that's necessary. They can't detect as much as you guys think. I hate to say that, but I'm gonna put that out in the street. Disability and reasonable accommodation documents is number 7. PHA generally does not need your entire medical history. I've tried to explain that to many of my clients, but yet they will write me a 40,000 page synopsis of their entire life genealogy. So the PHA is just as bitter as even my office about that. Look, guys, we need to know what your medical problem is, not the actual history. And so a detailed diagnosis, it may be requested with reliable information verifying this following: that the person meets the applicable disability definition, that the accommodation being requested, and the connection between the disability related limitation and the requested accommodation, meaning, in other words, the nexus. What is the actual cause to this? And so, taking a quick breath, and then we're going to move on to part B of number 7. A reasonable combination request, verification from a doctor, therapist, social worker, case manager, or other knowledgeable professional. Hello, that'd be me. Anyways, if a disability is not known as being obvious, then extensive medical verification may not be necessary. Trust me, there's an easier way with that, guys. Forms that the housing authority will provide. Applicants normally must complete and sign a PHA and HUD forms, including housing application, housing composition forms, citizenship and eligible immigration declarations, assets and income certification, zero income certification where applicable, criminal history and screening authorizations, authorization to verify information, Form HUD 9886A, and PHA specific consent forms. So you see, this is a rather deep rabbit hole. We go down the rabbit hole, the turtle hole, and many more. It's a tree with many branches, only to learn later that it has many leaves on it, right? Number 9. Thank God we're getting near the end because I'm getting tired of talking. Documents needed after receiving a voucher. Once a family finds a unit, the PHA usually requires documents from both the family and the landlord. And so it goes on. And this is where I'm going to concede of the argument of this because we're at roughly 11 minutes straight. I've had to talk, and I think that's enough. The rest we're going to produce both in the comment section and the description. There's only a little bit further to go, but this is all the things that you could potentially be facing just to deal with Section 8 and the application process. And keep in mind that this is me talking in a broad stroke, as if we would deal with any potential housing authority at any given time. I think this can be whittled down depending on which specific housing authority you deal with. You would be doing roughly 10 times less. So that's why it helps for me to speak with clients, ask all the questions. Then we don't have to go through roughly 8 pages of policies, rules, and instructions. Okay, guys? So I'm glad to have spoke with you guys. We've got about 2,000 videos out there. As many of you know, we have about 1,500 or more videos that I've made over the years. I served 26 years at the federal level as a consultant, and you would be very smart to work with my office regarding matters, just about any matter under federal law that deals with housing, Section 8, low-income housing, affordable housing, and further. A lot of video, long history with this, been published many times. So phone number, email, and web address at the top of the screen there to help you out. Notes will be in the bottom. And we'll see you again another day. And we're going to talk a lot more about a new subject matter. Have a great night. Bye for now.